Hello, everybody. Welcome to the English Matters grammar lesson for each one of us. Today, I'm going to teach you the difference between though, even though, and although. Now, before I start the lesson, do subscribe my channel and press on the bell icon to get the regular updates whenever I upload new lesson on my channel. Thank you. So let's get started. Now, when we use the words like though, even though, and although, they bring contrasting ideas in a sentence. Now, what do we mean by contrasting ideas? I'll tell you. Let's go through this particular example. Although he was weak, he appeared for the final test. Now, let me ask you, if you're weak, what would you do? Definitely, you would not be able to appear for the final test, or you would sit back and take rest. But here you see, although he was weak, the contrasting idea is he appeared. So contrast between weak should be at home, but no, he didn't do so. He appeared for the final test. So that's how the contrasting ideas, just the opposite ideas, are created. Okay. Now, one more thing to focus is when you start the sentence with although, right after the first clause you put a comma, and although, even though, they are part of the dependent clause. This kind of word will have two clauses in a sentence. One will be dependent clause and other will be independent clause. Independent clause, he appeared for the final test, it's complete in itself. However, dependent clause requires independent clause to make the complete meaning. All right, but do remember, when you start with the dependent clause, you put comma after the first clause. Okay, and there's no as such set rule that you have to use the dependent clause first. It can be in the reverse order, not a problem. All right, remember this. Let's go ahead and use the same similar sentence, but using though. Though he was weak, he appeared for the final test. Okay, exactly the same, but we have used though. The difference between them is although is quite formal, however though is little less formal, or rather informal. We use it in a conversation while speaking to one another, but when it comes to writing, we prefer using although. All right, quickly let's understand what do we mean by using even though in a sentence. Again, it is a part of dependent clause. Exactly. Even though he was suffering from high temperature, he appeared for the final test. Now remember, same thing, he was suffering from the high temperature. He should have taken rest. He shouldn't have appeared for the test, but he appeared. So the weak is being contrasted with the word appeared. So now, what is the importance of using even though? Even though is slightly higher. It's towards a higher degree. It brings a lot of impact in the sentence as compared to though. And so even though it's in a special case, okay, like though I was late, he didn't scold me. It means it's a regular habit. But even though I was late, he didn't scold me. It means that particular day it just happened in that was special case, that even though you were late, he didn't scold you. That's how it brings a lot of impact in a sentence. So even though he was suffering from high temperature, he appeared for the final test, and we put comma right after the first, that is dependent clause. Okay, now let's understand this one. He appeared for the final test even though he was suffering from high temperature. So what is the difference? We have used even though in the middle of the sentence. So there's no set rule that it has to be placed in the beginning. It can be in the middle or in the middle of the sentence. Okay, now when we go a little further, let's look at this sentence. It would tell you that we have a liberty of using the adverbial clause though in the end of the sentence, but we cannot do this in the case of although. So that is another difference. The food was delicious. I did not eat much though. The food was delicious. It means you should have eaten more. Okay, should have eaten much, but you didn't do so. That is a contrasting ideas. The food was delicious. I did not eat much though. But you cannot say the food was delicious. I did not eat much although. No. You could have said, although the food was delicious, I did not eat much. The food was delicious, although I did not eat much. But we have a liberty of using though being so informal in the end of the sentence. The food was delicious. I did not eat much though. Let's look at this sentence. Although the food was delicious, I did not eat much. So that's how you use although in the beginning of the sentence, right? How about this one? It's in the middle of the sentence. I did not eat much, although the food was delicious. Understood? So I hope this helps you to understand the difference between though, even though, and although. Okay? And if you have any question regarding these three adverbial clauses, do ask me in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you with a new lesson very soon. Until then, you take care. Have a great day. Bye bye.